At any rate, as we were pulling into Weimar, before we even settled anywhere, we could smell. We know what death smelled like. You know, when you're in the army and war, you smell death all around, and you get used to it. But this was a different kind of smell, but it was death, a death smell, and we knew that there was something around the area here that was making for that, and we thought of a concentration camp. And at any rate, we were told, oh yes, there's a camp up over there, up that hill. You go about 5 miles up the hill, and you go into it. And this was Buchenwald, the camp. And we went up the hill. And as we were about halfway up there, there was a bunch of kids coming down in prison garb. People who had been taken by the Germans as slave labor and now were freed by us. And they were from the Buchenwald camp. And they saw me and my buddy, and they started to dance around us. And my buddy could speak German. I couldn't really. I could know a word here or there, but he could speak German. And he talked to them, and they could speak German, and they were Polish, most of them. And we asked them what was there, and they told us that the camp was there, up there, Buchenwald prison camp was there, concentration camp it was. And we were talking to them. They wanted to know something about us, and they saw us. My friend could talk Yiddish to them too, which is a Jewish language, that is spoken in Europe. And he could talk that to them too. And so they talked to him, and he talked to them in Yiddish, and they responded in Yiddish, and they were Jewish. These kids were Jews who had escaped from that camp, or had gotten out of the camp, anyway, once we took it. And they looked at us, and they laughed and smiled, and the Amerikaner Juden, with rifles. To see an American Jew, the rifle meant to them a great deal. You see, because a rifle was a very powerful instrument. And they danced around us. They went into a dance around us and talked with us about it all, It was very interesting. And we eventually left them and went on towards the camp. And when we got there, there was this barren camp, really barren, desolate. And there was just 2 or 3, 4 figures walking around like skeletons. These were concentration camp inmates, had been there a long time. And they were like skeletons, really skeletons. And they could barely talk. It was very hard to see this all. And we looked into the barracks that they lived in, and they used to sleep a half a dozen on a row in this place here. And layers of them, 4 or 5 layers. And we walked over to the hospital. Now, this is a hospital in the prison camp for the inmates. And there was the same thing, but the smell was terrible in there. And we walked in and looked around, and some guy who was touring us around said that the prisoners slept on these, the sick prisoners, 5 in a row on the bottom rung, and the next rung, and the next rung. It was like the hold of a ship, with all the layers of soldiers that can sleep on them. It's the same thing. And these were all sick people, those who were still alive there. Many of them had been killed. Thousands had died there. And this was the way the Germans treated their prisoners. It was very sickening. And we walked out of there. We were so enraged. I wanted to go find an SS man who kept these camps, you see, and find him and shoot him. I never had that feeling in my life before, to shoot anybody. And I just wanted to kill them for what they did to these people.